My brother didn't know my dashcam was recording when I left the car. And what he confessed about pushing our sister off the balcony made me drive straight to the police station. Hey beautiful souls. Take a second to subscribe, drop a friendly hi in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's continue the story. The notification pinged on my phone at 2:47 a.m. My dashcam's motion sensor had activated. I groaned, assuming it was another stray cat triggering the sensor in my driveway. But something made me check the footage anyway. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was God protecting me from my own family. I pressed play and there was my brother Ronald sitting in my passenger seat. His face illuminated by his phone screen talking to someone. My stomach twisted. What was he doing in my car at this hour? I'd left it unlocked after carrying groceries inside earlier that evening, exhausted from my double shift at the hospital. Then I heard it. Words that would shatter everything I thought I knew about my family. Man, I'm telling you, nobody suspects nothing, Ronald said into his phone, his voice cold and calculated. They all think Shanice's fall was an accident. Mama's playing the grieving mother perfectly. Even got her a new church hat for the funeral. My hand flew to my mouth. Shanice. My baby sister. Dead at 23 3 months ago from a fall off her apartment balcony. I had to do it, bro. She was gonna tell everyone about the money I took from Mama's life insurance. Plus, she knew about the pills I've been moving. That girl was too righteous, always threatening to go to the police. The phone slipped from my trembling fingers. I caught it just before it hit the floor, my nursing instincts kicking in even through the shock. This couldn't be real. But I'd know my brother's voice anywhere. That laugh, that cruel, satisfied laugh, made my blood run cold. Shanice had always been the good one. While Ronald and I navigated our complicated relationships with our parents, she remained their shining star. Sunday school teacher, volunteer at the community center, always bringing Mama flowers just because. She called me 2 weeks before she died, her voice shaking. Nia, I need to tell you something about Ronald, she'd said. But not over the phone. Can we meet for coffee tomorrow? Tomorrow never came. I'd been pulled into an emergency surgery, texted her to reschedule. She'd replied with a simple okay, and a heart emoji. That was our last conversation. The next call I received was Mama screaming that Shanice was gone, that she'd fallen from her balcony while watering plants. The police ruled it accidental. A tragic slip on a wet surface. No signs of struggle, they said. Her apartment was on the 6th floor, and witnesses reported seeing her alone on the balcony. Case closed. Our family shattered but accepting it as God's mysterious will. I'd spent 3 months drowning in guilt, wondering if things would have been different if I'd made time for that coffee. Now watching Ronald's confession loop on my phone, that guilt transformed into something else entirely. Rage. Pure, burning rage that made my hands shake and my vision blur. I replayed the video. Maybe I'd misheard. Maybe exhaustion from back-to-back shifts was making me hallucinate. But no, there it was again. Clear as day. My brother admitting to murder while sitting in my car, completely unaware that every word was being recorded. I needed air. I needed to think. But mostly I needed someone to tell me I wasn't losing my mind. I called Keisha, my best friend since high school. She answered on the second ring, immediately alert despite the early hour. Nia? What's wrong? I couldn't speak. The words stuck in my throat like broken glass. She heard me crying and said she'd be right over. 20 minutes later she was sitting on my couch watching the dashcam footage, her face hardening with each word Ronald spoke. Oh my God, she whispered. Nia, you have to go to the police. Right now. That's my brother, Keisha. My family. Mama will never forgive me. Your brother murdered your sister. She grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at her. Shanice was your family too. She deserves justice. She deserves the truth. I knew she was right, but knowing and doing are different things. In our family you didn't betray blood. Daddy had drilled that into us since childhood. Handle things in-house. Keep family business private. Don't air dirty laundry. Those rules had protected us through poverty, through racism, through everything life threw at us. But they'd also protected a killer. Keisha pulled up the police department's non-emergency number on her phone. I'm calling right now if you don't. Shanice was my friend too. I held her mama at that funeral while she cried over what she thought was an accident. This ends now. Her words cut through my paralysis. I took the phone from her hand. Before I could dial, my phone rang. Mama. My thumb hovered over the decline button, but lifelong conditioning made me answer. Her voice came through sweet and tired. Baby girl, you awake? I know you work early, but I had a dream about Shanice. Just needed to hear your voice. Guilt crashed over me like a wave. Mama had aged 10 years in 3 months. Her hair had gone completely gray. She'd lost 30 pounds. The woman who'd raised us single-handedly after Daddy died, who'd worked 3 jobs to keep us fed, was breaking under the weight of grief. And I was about to destroy her completely. Mama, I'm here, I managed. I miss her so much, Nia. Every day I wake up and forget she's gone. Then I remember and it's like losing her all over again. She sobbed softly. At least I still have you and Ronald. Y'all are my whole world now. Ronald. Her golden boy. The son who could do no wrong despite the DUIs, the fired jobs, the girlfriends she'd had to bail out. Mama always made excuses. He's just going through something. He'll straighten out. Give him time. How much time did he give Shanice? Mama, I have to go, I said, my voice breaking. Wait, baby. Ronald is coming by for breakfast tomorrow. You should come too. We need to be together as a family. It's what Shanice would want. My stomach churned. Sitting across from her killer, pretending everything was normal. Watching him eat Mama's cooking while Shanice lay cold in the ground. The thought made me want to scream. I'll try, Mama. After we hung up, Keisha looked at me with fierce determination. You know what you have to do. I watched the video 17 more times before sunrise. Each viewing revealed new details that made my skin crawl. Ronald adjusting Mama's church hat he'd mentioned. Evidence he'd been planning this, making sure appearances were maintained. The casual way he discussed stealing from our mother. The pride in his voice when he described how he'd done it. She never saw it coming, he'd said to whoever was on that phone call. I told her I needed to borrow her phone charger. She turned her back for 2 seconds. That's all it took. Quick push and gravity did the rest. Ain't nobody questioning nothing because I'm the one who called 911, crying and everything. I should get an Oscar. An Oscar. He thought this was a performance. I grabbed my laptop and started documenting everything. Screenshots of the timestamp. The video file backed up to 3 different cloud services. I wrote down everything I remembered about the weeks before Shanice died. The phone call she'd made, her nervousness, the way Ronald had been acting strange at family dinners. Then I remembered something else. Shanice had given me a key to her apartment 2 months before she died. Just in case, she'd said. If anything happens to me, there's a shoebox in my closet. Top shelf. Behind the winter coats. If anything happens to me. Those words took on new meaning now. The police had cleared her apartment weeks ago. Mama had packed up most of Shanice's things, but she'd kept paying rent through the end of the lease, unable to let go. The lease didn't end for another month. I looked at Keisha. I need to get into Shanice's apartment. Shanice's apartment felt like a tomb. Mama had taken the furniture, the pictures, the life. But the bones remained, empty rooms that echoed with memories. I stood in the living room where we'd had our last real conversation, where she'd laughed at my terrible jokes and made plans we'd never keep. The balcony door was closed, curtains drawn. I couldn't look at it. Keisha touched my arm gently. The closet. We found it exactly where Shanice said it would be. A simple Nike shoebox. Dusty and forgotten behind winter coats she'd never wear again. My hands shook as I pulled it down. Inside I found how documented in careful detail. Notebooks. Bank statements. Photos. Shanice had been investigating Ronald for months. She'd tracked the money he'd stolen from Mama. $47,000 from a life insurance policy Daddy had left, meant for Mama's retirement. She'd photographed Ronald meeting with known dealers, documented his lies about job interviews that never happened, recorded phone calls where he'd threatened her to keep quiet. If you tell Mama, Ronald's voice came from her phone recording, tinny but clear, I'll make sure everyone knows about your little abortion freshman year. See how your church friends feel about their perfect Sunday school teacher then. Shanice's handwriting filled the margins. He's threatening me. I don't know what to do. Mama's heart can't take this. But the stealing has to stop. She's going to retire with nothing. There was more. Evidence that Ronald had been dealing prescription pills stolen from the hospital where I worked. My hospital. Using my employee parking pass that had gone missing last year. He'd been setting me up as a backup plan if he ever got caught. Keisha read over my shoulder, her breath coming faster. Nia, this is everything. He planned all of this. At the bottom of the shoebox I found something that made my blood run cold. A newspaper clipping from 6 years ago. Another young woman, another balcony, another tragic accident. Ronald's ex-girlfriend, Tamika. I remembered her, beautiful, smart, working on her master's degree. She tried to break up with Ronald, said he was too controlling. 2 weeks later, she fell from her apartment balcony during what police called a domestic dispute. Ronald claimed she'd been drunk, slipped while they were arguing. He'd cried at her funeral too. I'd held his hand, believing my brother was traumatized by witnessing such a tragedy. Shanice had written on the clipping, too similar. Same pattern. Same method. Same fake tears. I called Tamika's mother. She never believed it was an accident. Neither do I. My sister had died knowing our brother was a serial killer. There was a letter sealed addressed to me. My hands trembled as I opened it. Shanice's handwriting, dated 2 days before she died. Nia, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And it probably wasn't an accident. Ronald knows I found out everything. He's been watching me, following me. I'm scared, but I can't let him destroy Mama's life. I can't let him keep killing. I tried to be brave enough to go to the police myself, but I'm not. I'm so sorry. I should have told you during that coffee. I should have been stronger. Please, please make this right. Tell Mama I love her. Tell her none of this is her fault. She raised us the best she could. Ronald made his choices. And please, Nia, don't let him get away with it. Tamika deserves justice. I deserve justice. Maybe there are others we don't even know about. Stop him. Please. I love you. Shanice. I collapsed on the floor, Keisha catching me as sobs tore from my chest. My baby sister had been terrified, alone, trying to protect everyone even as she knew she was in danger. I called out sick from work. First time in 3 years. My supervisor, concerned, asked if I was okay. I wasn't okay. I would never be okay again. But I told her I had food poisoning and would be back tomorrow. Lying had become disturbingly easy in the past few hours. Keisha and I sat in my car in an empty parking lot, the evidence spread across our laps. The Dashcam confession played on repeat through my car speakers. Each word Ronald spoke felt like a physical blow. The casual cruelty. The complete lack of remorse. This wasn't the brother who'd taught me to ride a bike, who'd scared away my first boyfriend when he got too handsy, who'd held me when Daddy died. Or maybe it was. Maybe I just never wanted to see the monster hiding behind the family loyalty. We need to go to the police now, Keisha said. Before he suspects anything. Before evidence disappears. He was right. But I had to do something first. I called Mama's best friend, Sister Dorothy from church. She'd known our family for 30 years, had been there through everything. If anyone could help Mama survive what was coming, it was her. Sister Dorothy, it's Nia. I need you to promise you'll be there for my Mama today. Something's about to happen, something terrible, and she's going to need you. Baby, what's wrong? Is it Ronald? He in trouble again? The knowing tone in her voice made me pause. What do you mean again? Sister Dorothy sighed heavily. Your Mama don't like to talk about it, but Ronald has always had a darkness in him. Even when y'all were young. I told her she needed to get that boy help, but she thought love and prayer would fix him. My world tilted. You knew. Sister Dorothy invited us to her house. What she revealed made me question everything I thought I knew about my family. She pulled out her own box. Old letters, incident reports, psychiatric evaluations from when Ronald was 12. He hurt a neighbor's cat, she said quietly. Killed it and left it on their porch. Your Mama found his diary full of violent fantasies. She took him to a therapist, but your daddy wouldn't have it. Said therapy was for crazy people, that his son just needed discipline. The therapist said Ronald showed signs of antisocial personality disorder. Recommended intensive treatment. I felt sick. Mama never told us. She was ashamed. And scared. Your daddy made her promise never to speak of it. Said it would ruin Ronald's life if anyone knew. So she prayed harder, watched him closer, made excuses when he did cruel things. She's been protecting him and everyone from him for years. There's more, Sister Dorothy continued. Before Tamika, there was another girl in high school. She didn't die, but she ended up in the hospital after falling down the school stairs. She told people Ronald pushed her, but he said she was lying because he'd rejected her. School believed him. He was so charming, so convincing. The pattern was undeniable. Ronald hadn't suddenly become a killer. He'd been building to it his whole life, with Mama running interference, Daddy enforcing silence, and the rest of us blind to the truth. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Sister Dorothy's eyes filled with tears. Because Shanice came to me 2 weeks before she died. She was terrified. She said Ronald had threatened her and she was going to the police. I begged her to be careful. I should have gone with her. I should have protected her. The police station was cold and sterile. Detective Williams listened to the dashcam recording twice, his expression growing darker each time. Keisha sat beside me, holding my hand as I walked him through everything. The shoebox, Shanice's letter, the connection to Tamika, Sister Dorothy's revelations. Miss Thompson, this is significant evidence, Detective Williams said. But I need to be straight with you. Your brother's confession on this recording might not be admissible in court. He didn't know he was being recorded. However, combined with everything else your sister documented, we have grounds to reopen both cases. What happens now? My voice sounded hollow, distant. We'll need to bring Ronald in for questioning. We'll execute a search warrant on his residence and vehicle. Process your sister's apartment again with this new information. Interview witnesses with fresh eyes. He paused. I need to warn you, this is going to get ugly. Your family will be in the spotlight. Your mother will have to face some hard truths. My mother has already lost one daughter. She deserves to know why. Detective Williams nodded. We'll need you to act normal. Don't tip Ronald off. Can you do that? I thought about Mama's breakfast invitation. Ronald would be there tomorrow morning eating pancakes, probably planning his next move. The thought of sitting across from him made my skin crawl, but I nodded. I'll be there. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Shanice's face, hearing her laugh, remembering all the times she tried to tell me something was wrong and I'd been too busy, too tired, too wrapped up in my own life to really listen. The guilt was suffocating. Around 3 a.m. my phone buzzed. Ronald. You coming to Mama's tomorrow? She really wants us all together. I typed back, I'll be there. His response came immediately. Good. Family's all we got. Mama's kitchen smelled like home. Cinnamon, bacon, coffee. She'd gone all out, making enough food to feed an army. Her way of coping, keeping her hands busy so her mind wouldn't wander to the empty chair where Shanice should have been sitting. Ronald arrived 15 minutes after me, all smiles and hugs. He kissed Mama's cheek, complimented her new curtains, asked about her church friends. The perfect son. I watched him perform, seeing him clearly for the first time. Every gesture calculated. Every word a manipulation. Nia, you look tired, he said, concern dripping from his voice. You working too hard again? Just a lot on my mind. He squeezed my shoulder. You gotta take care of yourself, sis. Can't have nothing happen to you too. We already lost Shanice. The audacity. The sheer audacity of this man to speak her name, to pretend to mourn her while knowing exactly what he'd done. My hands clenched under the table, but I forced a smile. Mama set down a plate of pancakes. I was thinking we should go visit Shanice's grave today. It's been a week since we laid flowers. That's a good idea, Mama, Ronald said. I'll drive. Actually, I heard myself say, I think we should talk about something first. Ronald's eyes flickered to me, something dangerous lurking beneath the surface. Talk about what? Before I could answer, there was a knock at the door. Heavy official. Mama wiped her hands on her apron, confused. Who could that be? I stood up. I'll get it. Detective Williams stood on the porch with two uniformed officers. The look he gave me was apologetic but resolute. Miss Thompson, we need to speak with Ronald Thompson. Behind me, I heard Mama's sharp intake of breath and Ronald's chair scraping against the floor. What's this about? Ronald's voice was smooth, unconcerned, still playing the part. Mr. Thompson, we need you to come down to the station to answer some questions regarding the death of Shanice Thompson. Mama stumbled backward. I caught her arm, steadying her. What? No, baby, what's happening? Ronald looked at me, then really looked at me, and I saw the exact moment he understood. His face transformed, the mask slipping to reveal cold calculation. Nia, what did you do? I found the truth, I said quietly. I found Shanice's evidence. And I found your confession. Confession? His laugh was sharp, bitter. I don't know what you're talking about. Detective Williams held up his phone, playing the dashcam audio. Ronald's voice filled Mama's kitchen. I had to do it, bro. She was gonna tell everyone. Mama's legs gave out. I held her as she collapsed, her weight nearly taking me down too. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Not my baby. Not my Ronald. Tell them it's not true, baby. Tell them. Ronald's expression hardened. Mama, she's lying. This is fake, some kind of setup. You know your son. You know I loved Shanice. Then explain the money, I said, my voice steady despite the trembling in my limbs. Explain the $47,000 you stole from her. Explain Tamika. Explain everything Shanice documented before you killed her. You turned on your own blood? Venom dripped from his words. For what? Some recordings that don't prove nothing? Family don't do this to family. Murderers aren't family. The words came out stronger than I felt. Shanice was family. You took her from us. You took her from Mama. And you were going to let Mama spend the rest of her life thinking it was an accident. Ronald Thompson, Detective Williams stepped forward with handcuffs. You're under arrest for the murder of Shanice Thompson. The trial took 8 months. 8 months of Mama aging another decade, of our family name dragged through every news outlet, of old wounds torn open for public consumption. Tamika's mother testified, breaking down on the stand as she described years of knowing her daughter's death was no accident. The mother of the girl from high school came forward too, finally able to speak her truth. Ronald never confessed. Not in court, not in jail, not even when they played the dashcam recording for the jury. He maintained his innocence, painted me as a jealous sister trying to destroy him. His lawyer argued the recording was inadmissible, taken without consent. But Shanice's documentation was thorough, undeniable. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Mama didn't attend the sentencing. She stayed home, surrounded by Sister Dorothy and church members, praying for a son she'd lost long before the gavel fell. Life in prison without parole. Ronald stared at me as they led him away, his eyes promising that this wasn't over, that betraying family had consequences. But he was wrong. He stopped being family the moment he chose violence over love. I visit Shanice's grave every Sunday now, bringing fresh flowers and updates on my life. I got promoted at the hospital. Started therapy to deal with the guilt and grief. Mama and I are rebuilding our relationship slowly, painfully, working through years of secrets and enabling. Some nights I still see Shanice's face, hear her voice saying, if anything happens to me. But now I also hear her saying thank you. For being brave when she couldn't. For choosing justice over loyalty to a monster. For making sure her death meant something. They say blood is thicker than water. But the full quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The family we choose, the bonds we forge through love and truth. Those are stronger than any biological tie. Shanice chose truth. And in the end so did I. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to make an impossible choice between loyalty and justice? Remember, staying silent about evil makes us complicit. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is speak the truth even when it breaks our hearts. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're never alone in your struggles.